We are on. What is up? What is good? Um, Works perfect. We are good. No, we're gonna look at some shit because you know, I'm having issue with grifters and given the situation with the left being, in my opinion, not our politicians, but our constituents are delegitimizing what the left is essentially trying to do. you know. And we're getting caught up in identity politics. We're eating the bait of the right when they're trying to make us bite the bait for identity politics. And look, how do we not? My issue with the left is people don't want to vote Democrat because they think that you know, that the left can't be objective. And given the situation, what's happening in some states regarding, you know, all these really not really big issues in the grand scheme of things, like the trans shit or whatever. But it's stuff like that they use as bait, and it delegitimizes us and makes us um, look goofy. And part of this is also perpetuated by um, leftist grifters. Also help perpetuate this, and I don't want to have this be a home for any grifting. On this channel, I want us to be able to look at things objectively. So, the new rule regarding I'm sorry, but regarding objectiveness, if I feel like you're not being objective and you're grifting, right or left, there is no place for you on this cast. Okay? There is no place. Now, that being said, there are many things that are contradictory. Yes, feelings are important for the well-being of people, of course, but unfortunately, sometimes facts can hurt your feelings. And the left, we need to be that party of facts first. The right, however, likes to pretend they are, but they're strictly feelings, and we're talking bad feelings first, such as xenophobia, racism, you name it. But they put their feelings first, and they look goofy. I don't want us to fall into that same trap as the right. Okay? So we can be the party of science when it comes to vaccines, but we can also be the party of science when it comes to stuff like trans. So that's all I'm gonna say. We cannot have any grifting on this platform anymore. It'll not only delegitimize the platform. I know this is coming from a guy wearing a wife beater streaming, but I want the content to be A1. I want us to have nuanced discussions, look at things objectively, and so on and so forth. So I feel like if there's a grift, I cut the broadcast short, and I tell you I think you're grifting, and if it continues, then that's that, because I want this to be as serious as possible. Because unfortunately we stand to lose an election and Donald Trump stands to win again because we aren't being taken as seriously as we used to be taken 20 years ago. And one of my favorite comedians, Bill Maher, he has emphasized on this. Well, this channel is primarily leftist. Are you on the left? Chillin' Winters? But yes, for the most part, hard center. So you're center in America, or are you center worldwide? Because center worldwide is left in America, but center in America is pretty much right wing in the rest of the Western world. So, like, are you from the United States? But, yeah. So the most part, if I feel like, even if I have a leftist who's grifting, I'm not gonna let him make him or her make the left look goofy. Sorry, the stakes are too high in this election. I know this isn't a very big platform, but like literally every platform really does matter. I have such a fear of fascism from Donald Trump that I think this goofy shit could cost us the next election. And while it won't be entirely us to blame, oh, I got a little speck on the screen I gotta clean off. But while losing an election would be entirely our fault, the left would have to share some blame for not being objective in the public sphere. Anyways, we're gonna look at some brain rot now that I've said that. And we're gonna look at some Fox News. And we're gonna look at some crazy shit. We're gonna look at Bill Maher. But yeah, so let me edit the chat, share the screen with you. There we go. And let's see. Hard center. That's such an interesting point. What would hard center entail, though? Like, what would a hard centrist be like? That is a good question, though. What does a hard centrist entail? All right, question. Anyone who can my chat, how do I set rules for my chat? Because I want to know what a hard leftist entails. Seriously, a good question, especially in the United States. Oh, and that's another thing too. I also want to discuss with the left in the public sphere. There was I think the Young Turks, God bless them. Without the Young Turks, this progressive movement would be nowhere. You know, even though the first time I did find out about Bernie was on Bill Maher's show, like back in 2008, and that's when I really became a Bernie supporter. But that just tells you that Bill Maher has switched up, because no one goes from supporting Bernie to Klobuchar. Okay, let's just be very clear about that. But no, I want to talk about the campaign finance violation that, believe it or not, a progressive organization might have committed, right? And now we're not talking millions of dollars. We're not talking big donor type shit, right? However, let me give you some context. Now, McCain-Feingold was a law passed in, let's look at it. I want to say 04. McCain-Feingold Act. 2001, that amended the federal election campaign of 1970, which regulates the financial and political campaigns. Okay, 2001, right? Now, in McCain-Feingold, I'm sorry, I'm just looking at my dot, but McCain-Feingold, the limit that a single person could donate was $2,500. When Bernie Sanders or AOC or most progressives, Ilhan Omar, even though Ilhan Omar will always win, money or no money, Ilhan Omar will always win her district in a landslide. The same goes with AOC. If you've seen the people that go against them, they don't even need to campaign, okay? Like, AOC could literally act like the person she campaigned against, Joe Crowley, and still dominate that district, okay? She's done so much for those people, you know, and she has a very high approval rating. However, I digress. The maximum you can donate is $2,500. All these progressive politicians follow that rule. They don't take big donor money, right? They just take the people's money, the max of $2,500. However, there are loopholes, since that was done, that allow corporations to be somehow considered as people. That's why lobbyists, special interest groups are still allowed to donate millions of dollars. But as progressives, that's the standard we're supposed to uphold, is the $2,500 limit. Okay? You're campaigning, you're donating, it doesn't matter. We believe in the rule of law. We uphold the rule of law as progressives, okay? And we follow the rule of law, okay? So, we're supposed to donate $2,500 max per person, right? Cenk Uygur donated $25,000 to Nina Turner's campaign. And I'm for that. I'm absolutely for that. You donate more, you are risking plutocracy. We do donate more. We just do it in the we just do it in the form of a corporation or special interest group. So, I mean, we kind of do already have some form of plutocracy, but we already do it. McCain-Feingold just limited the human being itself from donating more than $2,500. When you see these big donations, they're not people themselves because that's illegal. However, Cenk Uygur donated $25,000 to Nina Turner's campaign. And I support Nina Turner. I want her to win in everything. But it's ironic how probably the biggest voice amongst progressives besides Bernie himself kind of really didn't follow the campaign finance laws. And even if he did, say the Young Turks themselves gave $25,000, right? That's kind of while that wouldn't be illegal, that's kind of going against what progressives believe as a whole, that corporations, Young Turks, shouldn't be allowed to donate money to political campaigns. It's literally the entire premise. All progressives believe in the 28th Amendment that denies any campaign contribution from big business PACs. Well, why do progressives not believe in donating money? Really good question, actually. If you look at a lot of our politicians today, they receive Pirlo. My bad, that's my dog. But if you look at a lot of politicians today, they receive money from a lot of different industries. If you look at and they're more likely to act and pass legislation in the best interest of those industries that donated to them, as opposed to the people that they're supposed to serve. Why are we always at war? Because Raytheon and Lockheed are consistently donating to both Republicans and Democrats, because Democrats vote on war too, Democrats, and so therefore we will always be in a war so they can keep producing weapons. Pharmaceutical companies, why do you think we haven't had healthcare reform? Why you don't think we have universalized healthcare? Because the hospital lobby and the pharmaceutical industry donate to both Republicans and Democrats. When I say Democrats, I'm not talking about the progressives like Bernie and AOC, but and Democrats. So we will never reform the law that benefits the people. We will always work at the behest of the donors. It's legalized bribery. And the thing is that this law, this tiny McCain-Feingold law, well, it doesn't do much. Progressives will cling on to that. But it's odd to me how Cenk went kind of over the limit, and if he did go over the limit, even if he did it legally by using the Young Turks, the corporation, that kind of goes against what the belief of a progressive is. But we do need Nina Turner in there. So, I mean, it is what it is. But, yeah. So I do feel some type of way about that, because, I mean, let's go look at other countries in the Western world. I mean, you look at most of Europe, most of the EU, most of NATO, those countries, campaign financing is illegal completely. Commercials for politicians are illegal completely. And they have a higher voter turnout than we do, because people actually do play a process in the role. They feel they do. But I hope that answered your question somewhat, Chillin' Winters. But let's see the biggest brain rot that we can find. Graham has no policies. Oh, let's get to this Disney set. But another thing about the right, we have policies. The left has policies. brought to the table. We're just purposely incompetent because we have to please the donors, right? The right, however, only culture war. They don't even engage in policies. It's all culture war. The only policies the Republicans have passed, only law that they really, really try hard to pass, they're not even allowed to brag about it. It's tax cuts for the rich. Because imagine a politician's campaigning. Donald Trump is campaigning, right? And he goes, we're going to cut taxes for wealthy people, but we're going to raise yours to pay for shit. Believe me, you would never, no Republican would win. I'm not a conservative at all. I don't know where you get that. No. If you're a liberal, not even a liberal, if you're a fake liberal, you're a Democrat, you are implicitly against changing policy. You are purposely incompetent. If you're a conservative, for the most part, you're looking to change policies, but for the worse, okay? Let's get that straight. But if you're on the left, you won't do anything about it because you benefit from it too. Listen, the only people excluded from this behavior that I'm talking about is literally progressives in Congress. Since I started this podcast, I have not attacked a single progressive in Congress. It's the so-called progressives in the public sphere, right? And it's the Democrats that call themselves progressive that aren't really progressive. You know, so...
Best way to improve your review.
I love how they're attacking Disney now. Like, all right, don't go to fucking Disney, you know? Disney is like, Disney is the right's like mecca for real. Like, if you've ever been to Disney, it's a bunch of just fucking fat people, fat white people just walking around. Disney fucking sucks, okay?
With music from Epidemic Sound. Find the perfect
Good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson. Tonight, I told you earlier in the week about how the left is very mad, in fact, trying to shut down a site called Libs of TikTok. Why are they so mad at Libs of TikTok? Well, here's one of the reasons. Over the past half year or so, video...
I saw Libs of TikTok and I thought it was someone pretending to be lib, always.
After video has appeared on social media showing school teachers bragging enthusiastically about how they push their personal sexual politics, often weird and gruesome sexual politics, on the small children they're supposed to be teaching. Now, the students in question are not teenagers, they're kindergartners, first graders, kids who have no perspective on life and no power to fight back. So many parents saw these videos, in some cases on Libs of TikTok, and they were shocked. They had no idea that anything like this was happening in the classroom. Having some purple-haired loser in a nose ring convince your 6-year-old to get it.
See, like, they're just painting the picture of, like... I love this. Tucker Carlson is just so good at just demonizing by painting this picture. Like, someone has blue hair, and someone has a nose ring, and... You know what I mean? But someone that's like 60, 70 is like, yeah, I hate people like that, you know? They paint the worst versions of everyone they have a problem with.
Sex change is not why most people send their children to school. So they complained, the parents did. And across the country, Republicans...
Which isn't even happening. Who's going to school and the teacher's like, you should change your sex? No, not happening.
And office holders responded by promising to do something about this. They made outraged noises, but then in very short order, they moved on to talking about Ukraine, which is what they really care about, not you. In the end, only one state really did anything about this. That would be the state of Florida under Ron DeSantis. Several weeks ago, the Florida legislature passed a...
I love this. I love this because he, out of anger with Disney, he's trying to like regulate their tax like exempt status or what. I forget the semantics, but something where they would have to pay taxes, and it's like, damn, do Republicans only regulate big business when they're mad? Like, do we have to just is the key to regulation just getting Republicans so mad to rage regulate? Like like, it's crazy. Like, he gets so mad he actually does something leftist. I love it.
Law banning teachers from bragging about their own sex lives to small children. Now, news reporters went crazy. They described this legislation as the Don't Say Gay bill, but as always, that was a lie. This bill didn't even mention the word gay, nothing to do with gays. Florida voters seem to know that intuitively. Even most Democrats in Florida supported this law. The polling firm Public Opinion Strategies found out why they do. Quote, Fully 2/3 of voters believe it is inappropriate for teachers or school personnel to discuss gender identity with children in kindergarten through 3rd grade. Well, of course it is.
Yeah, I don't even think this was really a problem at one point. Like, you know what's crazy? I feel like kids were just going to school and they were like, oh, so and so in the classroom has 2 dads. Why is that? Then they asked the teacher, and the teacher probably was like, well, it's okay to have 2 dads or 2 moms. Some people they like the same gender as them, which is okay. Boom, discussion over. Like, I don't think this was ever an issue, you know? I really don't. I really, really don't, you know? Like, when I was a kid, like, an apartment complex down from me, I went to school with one of the kids. He had 2 dads. And, like, I never thought anything of it. Like, my mom would just explain, like, yeah, some kids have 2 dads, some kids have 2 moms. That's perfectly okay. You're allowed to do that. And it's like, oh, discussion over. Like, that's just how you explain it.
Everyone thinks that. So if there was ever a law that accurately reflected public opinion, which should matter in a democracy.
I think this was a non-problem, and they were just trying to be like, they're just trying to, like, this is low-key, they're just a homophobic bill in general.
This was the law. But across the country, in the state of California, Bob Iger was watching, and Bob Iger didn't like it. Bob Iger is the 71-year-old former head of Disney. He's a butler for Hillary Clinton. He's got some free time and strong political views, so he promptly tweeted that the Florida law was immoral somehow. In an interview later with CNN with Chris Wallace, Iger explained that preventing teachers from promoting gender reassignment surgery to kindergartners was, quote, harmful to children. Iger never explained how this was harmful, but it didn't matter. Over at Disney headquarters, his remarks caused huge problems for the company's new CEO, Bob Chapek. Now, by all accounts, Bob Chapek is not especially political. He's not an activist. He's a marketing guy. So his first instinct was not to get involved, not to comment on what was happening.
Because from a marketing standpoint, when you don't market hateful shit, your business tends to do better, okay?
In Florida, and that seemed wise given how much at stake Disney has in Florida. They own a theme park in Orlando, you may have heard. That's an enormous physical asset that cannot be loaded on a truck and moved, so maybe don't mess with Florida. As Chapek put it in a memo, quote, corporate statements do very little to change outcomes or minds. He wrote that on March 7th.
It's true.
Disney plans to take a pass on this controversy because they make movies, not laws. But Bob Chapek's employees had other ideas. Whipped into a frenzy by their former boss, Bob Iger, Disney staffers demanded action immediately. And then, because he is weak and not especially bright, Bob Chapek caved to their demands. He agreed to hold a town hall with aggrieved Disney employees.
I wonder if Tucker Carlson knows what the fuck a union is. Just out of curiosity, like, does he know what the fuck a union is?
Who wanted him somehow to take control of the Florida legislature. Here's how that went.
Pinnacle Studio is used by video editors across
like,
all
I wonder,
skill
like, Tucker.
I need an editor.
I hope you've all read my most recent note, in which I pledge to be a better ally for the LGBTQ plus community, apologize for not being the ally that you needed me to be, and committed to ensuring that our company lives up to its values. Your words have made a real impact on me. I understand that we've made mistakes and the pain that those mistakes have caused. And I know that our silence wasn't just about the bill in Florida, but about every time an individual or...
So, like, Ron DeSantis, I'm in Florida doing this, so I actually know about this pretty well, you know. But Ron DeSantis, governor of this state, he fucking passed a law that bans teachers from talking about homosexuality with children and all that, which wasn't really a problem. This is strictly just a culture war. You know, Republicans pass nothing laws. Like in North Carolina, they banned Sharia law when they never had a problem with Sharia law, just to say that they're doing something when they're really not. So, yeah. But again, this is just another culture war law. So.
institution that should have stood up for this community did not. I want to thank the LGBTQIA Plus Advisory Council.
Hey, Bob, what is LGBTQ?
It doesn't. It has nothing to do with that. It's just a homophobia bill, you know. I mean, there are pockets in the country, like in California, where I don't know much about, but I know people that live out there, and I would argue that the problem really isn't in schools out there per se. It's parents. Um, it's parents who are trying to be, you know, uber woke or whatever the fuck, you know, that are obsessed with talking about these things with their children. Who with views on reproduction? No. That shit's irrelevant to a kid from fucking to a young kid, and this shit's talking about things that are irrelevant to begin with to young kids. That's why this is another Republican non-law. Because he says if you sexualize children young, how will that interfere with views on reproduction? Yo, kids from till 8 years old are not thinking about that shit. Okay. Like, it's a silly non-law. It's another silly non-law. It's like when Governor Abbott in Texas said he was going to ship migrants in a fucking coach bus to D.C. Like, we knew that, one, that can't happen. Two, and if he tried, they would be sent back. And what happened? He sent a few buses that you can't just send people to another person's city, you know, without papers or anything like that. So obviously they got sent back to a processing, whatever, you know, in Texas. It's another Republican non-law, this don't say gay bill. Okay?
QIA stand for? You have no freaking clue. That's not the interesting part. The interesting part of what you just heard was, your words have made a real impact on me. In other words, you now have full control over my entire central nervous system. You own my brain. Do with me what you will. And they did. Bob Chapek soon reversed his position, Disney's position, completely. Going forward, not only did the Disney Corporation fervently disagree with the law the Florida legislature had passed, according to Bob Chapek, Disney had decided to override the expressed will of Florida's voters and overturn that law. Quote, our goal as a company, said Bob Chapek, is for this law to be repealed by the legislature or struck down in the courts, and we remain committed to supporting the national and state organizations working to achieve that. Whoa! What? You thought it was an entertainment company, but no. From its headquarters in Los Angeles, the Disney Corporation had now decided it runs the state of Florida. So for people who want to defend democracy, which is a system in which voters get to govern themselves, this was quite a departure. This is oligarchy, corporate CEOs deciding what the laws should be. Yeah, that's their new position. But in the meantime, Disney employees set about trying to undermine the intent of Florida's law. If teachers could no longer promote transgenderism to kindergartners, Disney planned to step into the breach and do it themselves. Here's internal footage from Disney obtained by journalist Chris Rufo.
Last summer, we removed all of the gendered greetings in relationship to our life skills. So we no longer say ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. We've trained, we provided training for all of our cast members in relationship to that. So now they know it's hello everyone or hello friend.
Which is cool. But this shit makes Republicans... You know, I'm telling you, this is all culture war. Like, no one should give a fuck about this. No one should give a fuck about this. No one. Yeah, Tucker Carlson. This is all the media I can fucking find besides fucking Ukraine. You know?
No more boys and
on the
girls.
mainstream.
Disney World is now...
That's part of the fucking problem.
That's the diversity and inclusion lady. You're not surprised. What is surprising is that the head of a publicly held company like Disney would announce in public that he's in charge of a state that we thought was run by the voters of that state. Well, in Florida, Ron DeSantis noticed this. He's the elected governor, and he decided to find out, how does the system work? He decided to test democracy. So during a special session of the Florida legislature this week, DeSantis led an effort to strip Disney of what turned out to be a remarkable set of special perks that company had enjoyed for more than 50 years. You were not treated like Disney is treated in Florida.
Ron DeSantis also in that same hearing gathering yesterday, he also did draw new district lines, redistrict, and to favor Republican electorates in his state. So, like, they're not going to talk about that because obviously this is Tucker Carlson. I'll go to that. Just remind me in a bit. Fuck, I need a pen and paper. But I'll go to that story in a bit. Because Ron DeSantis fucked with democracy on that same day, and they're not going to talk about it.
Who have never been treated that way.
Totally redrew districts.
After the special session, no more will Disney World operate as its own independent country within the state of Florida. Yes, that's how they were governed, by themselves. And now, going forward, Disney is going to have to pay its taxes. Oh, wow, just like everybody else. Now, if you've lived in this country for more than, say, 5 years, ask yourself, what's the political party that has always told you big companies should pay their taxes? Corporate tax breaks are bad. Well, of course, that's always been the Democratic Party. So you would imagine that the Democrats in Florida would applaud a move like this. When was the last time you heard liberals complain about stripping tax breaks from big business? Never before in history. It's never happened. And yet it just did happen. These are Democrats in the Florida legislature. Notice they are on the verge of tears as they learn that the Disney Corporation might have to pay taxes.
The clerk will unlock the machine and members will proceed to vote.
Wait, what is this?
Lock the machine and members will proceed to vote.
Might have to pay taxes.
The clerk will unlock the machine and members will proceed to vote.
Damn, you know what? If I pictured a Florida legislature, this is what I would picture.
Clerk will lock the machine, announce the vote.
68 yeas, 38 nays, Mr. Speaker. Show the bill passes.
No. You may have sensed that the Democratic Party over the last decade or so has been captured by corporate interests. But you never thought that you would hear on the Florida state legislature Democrats scream with anguish at the idea that a big company might have to pay its taxes. Unbelievable. But now very clear. What's going on here? Well, a lot of things. Here's one. Disney spends millions of dollars electing lawmakers in the state of Florida. But those lawmakers couldn't do their job in this case. They couldn't act on Disney's behalf. The law passed, and DeSantis signed it into law this afternoon. And that's going to cost the Disney Corporation a ton of money, which in turn may mean less money for the Florida Democrats you just saw shrieking in the video. So there was some self-interest involved here. But it wasn't just that, because it wasn't just Democratic officers who were upset.
Absolutely. The thing is that every person on opinion show, news anchor, anyone you see on like mainstream media, everything is calculated. He's just horrible at it. The people at Fox, in general, all their expressions are calculated. He's the worst of the worst. But I'm telling you, in general, yeah, you could tell they're actors. The right is loaded with actors. You know, Chillin' Winters. Look at every single Fox News show, Fox and Friends, from morning to evening, right? Just IMBD every person on the show's name, and you'll see they're just failed actors or comedians. Not really failed because they're fucking here, but like they're not news people at all. Like Tucker Carlson is not a news guy.
By the idea that an elected governor might be more powerful than an unelected corporation headquartered across the continent. The media were very upset too, very upset. Watch this.
If Ron DeSantis could pass an anti-Muslim bill for the state of Florida, he would. If he could pass an anti-CRT, if he could say it's illegal to say you're black, I'm pretty sure the guy would try it.
I mean, look, DeSantis has this is a playbook out of Putin, and we saw where this goes.
It's very Soviet, and it's weird how Republicans, they keep tacking back to the old Soviet.
All right, when I say the left is goofy, this is not what I'm talking about. These here, if you look legislatively, what he's trying to do, these here are legitimate complaints, okay? Let's go back. I will break down each one.
If Ron DeSantis could pass an anti-Muslim bill for the state of Florida, he would.
Don't forget, Ron DeSantis started off his campaign by referring to his opponent as a monkey, okay?
If he could pass an anti-CRT, if he could say it's...
If Ron DeSantis was a dictator, but he's not, thank God we have a democracy still somewhat, okay? He would probably do these things. He hates CRT.
illegal to say you're black, I'm pretty sure the guy would try it.
Okay, maybe just a little hyperbole, but Ron DeSantis would ban a lot of things. Ron DeSantis is an extreme right-winger. Very, very fascist-esque. Donald Trump's straight up fascist. Ron DeSantis, I haven't seen him have really any power long enough to say whether or not he's a fascist. But he behaves, looks like, speaks like, legislates like a fascist. Okay? Let's see what he does if he has real power. He could be very dangerous.
I mean, look, DeSantis has this is a playbook out of Putin, and we saw where this goes.
Putin, too, did put restrictions on free speech. DeSantis passed legislation that has restrictions to free speech. Now, I'm not going to say it's like Putin. Putin-esque. It's Putin-esque. Okay?
Soviet, and it's weird how Republicans, they keep tacking back to the old Soviet Union, and they seem to want to mimic the things that the new Soviet Union, maybe Vladimir Putin, is.
The old Soviet Union, they cannot align themselves with. They're supposed to be the anti-communist party. However, the new Soviet Union, the result of communism, oligarchical. They love oligarchy. They believe in oligarchy. When you look at how legislation is influenced tremendously by corporations that donate, you can't tell me that this doesn't resemble an oligarchy. There are comparisons to be made, and they're not like, yes, they're on TV, so there is a degree of hyperbole, but these comparisons aren't outlandish. Like, it's not a mask to Hitler, you know what I mean, or anything Republicans hate to Hitler. It's nothing like that. Like, there are things that resemble each other in the comparisons they're making.
Doing. And
even though fuck MSNBC.
In our conversations about DeSantis, it's about how well they're serving him. The truth is, dehumanization as a tactic for politics is from war. Dehumanization is a tactic. It's being used right now. The Russians get their soldiers.
Okay, I don't. All right. Yeah, now they lost me. This is where it gets goofy. Like, he's not waging war. He just hates him, you know? Like, a bigot isn't waging war. You know what I mean? Like, a homophobe isn't waging war, you know? They're just horrible people.
To rape children by dehumanizing them. Dehumanization as a practice is a tactic of war.
So just to be clear.
And then he has a fake laugh. Tucker Carlson was a very bad actor before this.
By the way, there's probably some kind of inverse IQ test going on in the hiring department over at MSNBC. But here are the new rules. If you would like a big publicly held corporation to pay its taxes, then you're a child rapist. Obviously, you're a racist. You're like Putin, which means you're a fascist. But you know what else you are? According to Joy Reid, you're a communist. Ron DeSantis is, quote, taking us back to the Soviet Union. You're a communist if you want the company to pay its taxes. Now, Joy Reid went to Harvard, so we're not going to disagree with her. But we did feel a moral obligation to check that fact because it's a heavy claim.
Subscribe to the Fox News YouTube channel to catch our nightly...
Yeah. So a little hyperbole, a little bit. Come on. Oh shit.
Have you guys been
She said today she does not believe in QAnon.
Q, any of that?
Hold on, let me get this volume up. Slow down, bitch. What? Hyperbole. Like exaggerate. You know, exaggeration. You know, going a little bit like the comparison with Putin and former Soviet, like there was those were legitimate comparisons. Like you can make comparisons to things Putin has done to silence people and things DeSantis has done to silence people. Absolutely. But I mean, DeSantis never killed anyone to silence them that we know of. But I mean, the way they both attack free speech, yes, there's a comparison to be made. Now, the last lady, she was saying that DeSantis is waging war on gay people. Like, that's an exaggeration, you know. He just doesn't like them, you know. But, let's see this crazy shit.
Have you guys been following 4chan, Q, any of that stuff? Anybody? I'm going to watch for your comments here. Okay, so we posted an article just a few days ago about who is Q. We posted that on American Truth Seekers. There has been a lot of chatter. I don't know how much you guys know about Q. It's an anonymous person. All right, so Q is a patriot. We know that for sure, but we do.
I feel like Q is Steve Bannon. Hold on. I feel like Q has got to be like Steve Bannon or something. Do you think DeSantis is intimidated by Cuba and the East Coast? No, I don't feel like anyone's intimidated by Cuba. Remember, Cuba's fucked right now, especially now, because all their funding, if they received anything from anywhere else, it would be from either Russia or in the past the Soviet Union. You know, China sends them stuff, but you have to look. China, Russia right now, the ruble's worth nothing, so they're gonna have a much more difficult time. Basically, even surviving as a country, you know. But who is the anonymous Q? Ron Watkins? Who the fuck is Ron Watkins? They're saying this guy. Ron Watkins. But yeah, she believes that shit. And I love people that say, I don't believe in QAnon. It's like, I argue with Republicans all the time that are like, this fucking guy. But it's crazy. QAnon is so big that I will argue with Republicans, and I do go look at the latest shit QAnon's saying, and they will go and argue with me and say shit that QAnon is saying, and then when I call them QAnon, they'll be like, you're calling me a conspiracy theorist. But they're repeating the exact same shit from QAnon that somehow seeps into the media that they watch, or they're lying about actually following Q because they don't want to look stupid in an argument. I know a lot of Republicans a lot of right-wingers like this, you know. But I'm telling you, just watch from the beginning.
Have you guys been following 4chan, Q, any of that stuff? Anybody? I'm going to watch for your comments here. Okay, so we posted an article just a few days ago about who is Q. We posted that on American Truth Seekers. There has been a lot of chatter. I don't know how much you guys know about Q. It's an anonymous person. All right, so Q is a patriot. We know that for sure, but we do not know who Q is, okay? So, now...
We just found him. It's this fucking guy.
I'm going to talk about this, and I'm going to tell you, I don't know who Q is, but I'm just going to tell you about it because I think it's something worth listening to and paying attention to. Okay, and the reason why is because many of the things that he has given clues about and talked about on 4chan and other forums have really proven to be true. Okay,
I need to see
there's
this.
some really interesting things about this person Q.
It's gonna stop it there? Fuck.
Have you guys been
Oh, what's this? Oh, let's hear some.
Feel like a tomato plant, but well, that's got nothing to do with salads. You can feel however you want. I mean, I can sit here and say that I feel like a tomato plant, but that doesn't mean that I'm actually in those things. So your self-perception, you can have whatever self-perception you want, but you can't expect me to take part in that self-perception or to take part in this kind of charade, this theatrical production. You don't get your own pronouns, just like you don't get your own prepositions or your own adjectives. You know, it's like if I were to tell you, my adjectives are handsome and brilliant, and no matter whenever you're talking about me, you have to describe me as handsome and brilliant because that's how I.
Yo, I love to see people like this just get so bent out of shape. Like, it just, nothing entertains me more than seeing a man like this have a mental breakdown over having to address a trans. Okay, Malik Al-Kara, he goes, what has the goofy left done today? I think you're not gonna like this channel very much. This is a leftist channel. Just to give you forewarning.
Identify. Makes no sense. You don't get your own pronouns. I think it's delusion. It could be mental illness. It could be it's a lot of things. With children, you know, there's also just a basic confusion that all kids have. When a 4-year-old boy comes to you and says, "Oh, I'm a girl," here's a good follow-up question. What is a girl? And that's a question I would like to throw out to other members of the panel. Actually, because just like the 4-year-old can't answer what is a girl. Well, this is one of the problems with this left-wing gender.
Oh, man.
That no one who espouses it can even tell you what these words mean. It's like, what is a woman? Well, can you tell me what a woman is?
No, I can't.
What do you define a woman as?
An adult human female. You know, here's the thing: when you're female, it goes.
Even that definition is fucking. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro.
Right down to your bones, your DNA. So that's why if someone dies, we can dig up their bones 100 years from now. We have no idea what they believed in their head, but we can tell what sex they were because it's ingrained in every fiber of their being. I have answered the question.
Oh.
You stood up here and said trans women are women.
Now that there's truth to that. Like, I think when a lot of transgender people die, if they ever get excavated, they might be viewed as men or whatever sex they were born with. You know, there are some biological subtleties, and unfortunately, but to like go around and tell someone they can't be what they want to be is fucked up, yo. Like, this is a free fucking country. You know what I mean? Like, and the way they get around justifying that is just by demonizing these people when, like, statistically speaking, they commit less crimes and they're more likely to get sexually assaulted. Like, that's the part that's really, you know, like, people look at this and he dropped one tidbit of truth, and there's gonna be some leftists that go, yo, this guy, or he dropped like a phrase of truth in the whole thing. The part about the bones when you excavate. But the rest is like just like hateful bullshit.
Yes.
Tell me what you mean. What is a woman?
Womanhood is something that, just as Ethan explained, I cannot define because I am not
Use
myself.
the one. So what did you mean when you said trans women are women if you don't know what it means?
Right? So here's the thing. So I do not define what a woman is because I do not identify as a woman. Womanhood is something that is an umbrella term. It includes people
That
who
describes what?
people who identify as a woman.
Identify as what?
As a woman.
What is that?
What's to each their own.
Yo, gender is non-binary. That's a fact, yo. So like a woman is technically a gender. That shit non-binary. It's the sex that's like you're born with. But the thing is that like sex is like biological. You don't address anyone with their biological. Like if a kid's adopted, right? You address them by the name they got when they was adopted. Like you don't be a dickhead like that. You know what I'm saying?
Men down to maybe just their
Like
genetics.
now he's just being a dickhead to her.
our genitals, our chromosomes, right? That's what you're
What
saying.
you want to do is
That's what
what you want to do is appropriate women. You want to appropriate womanhood and turn it into basically a costume that can be worn.
And who gives a fuck if that's what she's trying to do? Why does it, like, whatever the fuck makes people happy? Like, these people get so depressed, and then it's like, yo, if these people can't be comfortable with themselves, like, what the fuck are they supposed to do? You know, like that guy was being an asshole to her. Anyways, let's see if we got any more brain rot up here.
Well, that's got nothing to do with.
Let's see. Yeah, they're just tweeting. Twitter bans ads that contradict science and climate change. Good. 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 I'm glad. Fucking Tim Dillon. Like that. True. True, true, true. Because his buddy's at Exxon, he needs that, he's gonna run again. Like, that's what I feel like when a president don't gotta run again, like, he should just do whatever the fuck he wants. But I feel like Biden's so still he's old, but he's still like, and at the end of his life, but like, to do the right thing, nah, he's definitely thinking about running again because he still is like a cuck or at the behest of these fucking oil execs. That shit is so true. Does he want to provide context on this? Like, oh God, look at these Joe Biden stands. Joe Biden stands exist? Oh my God. You were the best president the last 100 years. You will win 2024 in a landslide. Go Joe. Who the fuck thinks that? Who the fuck thinks that? Is this even a person? This is a bot. This gotta be a bot. Oh, fuck the people pulling up the Hunter Biden shit. Alright. Dear President, I trust and believe in you. I already appreciate the work you are doing. Thank you, Joe. God damn. Oh, this shit exists. Thank you, Joe Biden. Record breaking. Oh, another. This is like a Bill O'Reilly-esque like poster. Hold on, my bad. Let me scroll up. This is like a Bill O'Reilly-esque poster, just in leftist form. Not even centrist form. Strongest year in economic growth since 1984. Unemployment at 3.6%. Yeah, wages. What about our wages? Wages not going up. You have 7.9 million jobs added, the most in any year. Wages. Again, Republicans like to brag about the same shit, but we don't even have a federal $15 minimum wage. God. U.S. GDP, 5.7%. Double the average since 1976. Again, that doesn't benefit people. That's just the stock market. That's rich fucks that helps out. Deficit down, 1.3 trillion, the most in any year. Yes, but that doesn't matter when you've accumulated over $5 trillion in spending. Like, math, you gotta subtract. Like, this has gotta be a bot or someone that just, like, sits on the couch and watches MSNBC all day. Oh, fuck. I was gonna go look at more Joe Biden fan mail. Dear Sir President Biden, your thoughts are very nice for us. And you are a very nice man. I have many respect and many love for you in my heart. You are a very peacefully leader, bot. Idiot. Thank you. Of course, after the last guy suggested raking the land forest, I'm glad to have someone in charge that puts a little more thought into the process. But what did he do? What is this pledge? What is it? Let's see. Joe Biden, executive order. Let's see. What does it say will happen? What is in this executive order? You know what? Let's just hear it from Joe Biden himself. Yeah, this is going to be great. Yo, NBC, bro, with these long fucking ads, bro.
How much we've devastated our forest. I mean, it used to be, if you look from the Atlantic coast almost to the Mississippi River, was heavy forest. And we took it all down over those years. That's why today I'm signing an executive order to conserve our forests that do so much to protect us. You know, our
How do we do that?
Forests are our planet's lungs. They literally are recycling and cycling CO2 out of the atmosphere. That's what they do. By the way, I spent time down in the Amazon and in Colombia and in Brazil. And guess what? More carbon is taken out of the air in the Amazon, that carbon sink, than every bit of carbon that is generated on a daily basis in the entire United States from every source. So what we should be doing, and I'm trying to get done, they're not going to maybe like this, we should be paying the Brazilians not to cut down their forest. We got to cut ours down. We got to cut ours down. We got the benefit of it. So we've got these third world countries, not third world, some are, in Africa and South America.
Oh, Freudian slip.
Okay. We got the industrial countries have to help. Scientists estimate that the protection and restoration of our natural lands and waters can provide more than 1/3 of the solution to climate change. Just that, if we did nothing else. So today I'm about to sign an executive order to strengthen our forests on federal lands and make them and the local economies they support more resilient in the face of wildfires. I've flown over every major wildfire in this country with FEMA since, not every, a couple I didn't, but the vast majority of them. And it's devastating. I've seen it from helicopters with FEMA just flying over here, Idaho. I didn't get to go to Oregon, but California. It's absolutely devastating. So we're going to work with state, local, and tribal governments to map, catalog, and then conserve old-growth forests on our public lands.
Ready to style in just one step? Introducing new...
Clean energy could extend the process of making every military climate friendly. I don't know if it's a lot, but I mean the electric shit, I mean it's one minuscule good thing. Our tribal government, I mean, I believe in tribal sovereignty. Americans fuck all just land up. I mean, it's not. It really was never our land to begin with. We just, invaded and pillaged. But I mean, tribal sovereignty is not even like the bare minimum. Like, we've done more to set bold climate goals. We've acted to deploy the most solar wind band. Nice. Joe Biden needs to wake up. He's gonna. The thing is, they talked about Bernie Sanders running, and if Bernie Sanders runs, he's never trailed Trump in a poll. He beats Trump in almost every poll. He has the most popular policies in the country. He is essentially the real populist, while Donald Trump is the faux populist. Regardless of the fact, nobody wants a fucking Washington fucking DCite. He will never win the primary. They will all rig it and will comply with their rigging. Of course. Of course. I mean, it's 2 times in a row. That's where the real collusion was, within the DNC, which was crazy. But yeah, of course. I mean, but the thing is that Bernie has to overwhelmingly win in like landslides. But if he runs, he has that chance. Yeah, independents be the real left in this country. Nah, but I'm a registered Democrat. I'm left, like. But yeah. Anyways, yeah, I'm gonna call it for now. I will be back on probably Monday. I got a show tomorrow. Melinda's in Miami. If anyone is in Miami, tomorrow, follow me at Donald Espada Comedy, Twitter, Real Donald Espada. You know the deal. All right, thank you guys.